All right, are we on, Joe? Hello guys, and welcome back. In for arms today. Arms and then a cycle chat that I think is long overdue. Obviously, since me working with Nathan, his anabolic approach is very similar to what a lot of the mainstream coaches in the UK will do. Generally, you know, between 10 and 15 milligram per kilogram of testosterone, testosterone with a DHT derivative being mast or primo, and a minimum effective dose of a 19 or like. That's the model pretty much a lot of coaches run off in the UK. So he's very similar to that from his points of learning. And you know, the one thing about Nathan is he gets people in shape really well and he peaks them really well. And again, that's the reason why I've used him, just because getting on stage for me and leading up to that, nothing matters leading up to it as long as the look on stage is good, rather than everything looks good leading up to it and then falling apart. So, you know, hopefully we can nail it this time. However, yeah, the drug side of things from Nathan is the actual overall milligrammage is not less, it's around the same, but just the approach, definitely in conjunction to where I was with meal loss last year, is, you know, night and day. So I was on a lot of anabolics by this point. Well, I say a lot, it wasn't actually a lot, but it was a lot. The compounds were like quote unquote more aggressive, if you like. So that'll be interesting to see where I was and where I am and my thoughts on that. But yeah, arm day today, I've actually started getting a touch of tendonitis in my biceps, only when I start. So again, if you're somebody who can just turn up and train your arms, you know, I'm losing views, but this video is not for you. If you've got good arms and you can just hit them, you know, this is going to be a lot of cues of people whose arms struggle to grow the arms, or your arms have stayed the same for a long period of time and they're okay, but they haven't really changed. So firstly, for me, if you watched my arm days before, you'll know that they're very, very light to start with, and that's going to be no exception here. For somebody to go in now and to be in a position here, if you've got tendonitis here, tightness here, your elongated biceps tendonitis there as well, and you're going to start to put pressure and load here, the first place it's going to go is tendon or elbow. So straight away you're going to be yanking from that. You will want to have a load that is light enough to the point where you can simply, like that's nothing, like literally nothing. And I'm literally just going to put myself there. I'm going to make sure there's no pressure through here, and I can just hang it off my bicep. Everything's hanging off my bicep there. There's no tightness in here, there's no tightness in here. If you're in this position and that's tight, you're here. Or you're using this and you're not letting your bicep work. I can be nice and free, I can turn away a little bit even, and I'm just squeezing. That's all I'm doing. I'm fully controlling that. And you'll do a set of 20, 25 reps, and you'll feel probably nothing. But what you're doing here is you're just allowing your bicep to contract, hold tension down, fully lengthen, squeeze. Hold tension down, fully lengthen, squeeze. So this isn't a counted rep set, I'm not counting anything. So I'm just chucking it a little bit, I'm finding out where the squeeze point is, I'm finding out where I can get away with tension or not. And this just depends simply because when you've got tendonitis, some days it's good, some days it's bad. Some days you can turn up and everything feels fantastic, and other days you can't even get in the machine. So, you know, again, if you, for example, trained, it could be legs where you've maybe got your hands in a dodgy position from a squat. Again, if you suffer from bicep tendonitis, that's where mine came from, squatting free bar. Or you may have trained back the day before and then aggravated some tendons. So that's a pre-activation. You could do one set of that, you could do 3 sets of that. But for me today, that feels okay. With 4 working sets, I'm gonna feel pretty good. And again, the rep range will be from 20 to 30 to start with. On exercise number 1 for biceps for me, I just need them warm, I need them clicking, I need everything to be moving and lubricated before I can move on. This exercise for me is the most pivotal of the session. If I don't get this right, nothing flows throughout the session after this. So I was going to say, Joe, I have to spice this one up, but since you did me with Spice Girls last time, maybe not spice it up, maybe put something else. Cardio. Yeah, Cardi B. Dry joint feeling, which I have no business being, because I'm nowhere near lean enough to be feeling like that. Usually as I lose the size, the off-season size, my tendonitis tends to disappear simply because I'm probably more mobile and I don't have that tightness through long-headed biceps, for example, or shoulder or something like that. But this time it's gone the other way around. I've been okay in off-season. As I've started to lose that bit of size, I can feel it a little bit more. So I'm hoping it's just a phase, a temporary phase. So 2 sets of that, and now I feel my bicep basically. If you're somebody who does struggle to connect your arms, you may feel sometimes that you're repping and there's nothing, there's no real connection, or you may feel it forearm, or you may feel it here and then nothing else. Just taking your time to be able to really feel the bicep through the movement, and that means minimal load and just taking your time. So we want to come in, we want to get a pump, and getting an arm pump is great, but if your arms aren't growing, there is a reason for that. You might be getting blood in them through moving in a certain way, but you're not taking it through a range of motion to break it down and obviously thus help it grow. So that's my pre-activation for that. So I can comfortably go into a duel now and have a connection with my biceps, rather than just creaking it up with my elbows and feeling nothing really. So I still do like to do bicep, tricep, bicep, tricep, bicep, tricep, really where I can. Just keeps a lot of blood in the arm without the muscle getting tired as well. I'll still train arms for an hour. Maybe it'll be a little bit longer today because I've got Joe in, and by now I'd have been well on, but yeah, my arm sessions will still be an hour long. And my arms will be much improved, I think, this year. In terms of size, they will be a little bit bigger, but I just think because I've held the tissue on them, they won't go as flat. I think I'll be able to hold that and sit on my arms this time around. But time will tell. So this is a staple tricep movement, a set for me, where basically set number 1, I'll put these handles in a little bit closer. Set number 1, 3 seconds, full stretch. Set number 2, 2 seconds in the squeeze, and when I'm squeezing, I'm actively squeezing. And things to think about as well is, if you do a tricep push down like this all the time, like one thing I notice is when I tricep push down, my hands are always slightly turned out, because that's where my rotation is there. I'm pressing like this. Now, if you go in and then all of a sudden try and press like this, so your hands are slightly turned in, you get a different bit of tension on your tricep. So I do this all the time, I can feel it in the same place, but all of a sudden if I just get my hands and I twist them in, it still looks like my hands are straight, but to me, I'm coming from a different angle. And as I start to do that, I can feel it almost hit my tricep like that much higher than it normally would. Thus, getting a new stimulus there, new bit of tension through the muscle. And I found that really helps. So I'll give that a go. Just taking note of very minor things in terms of how you move. Same with a bicep curl. If you're curling like this all the time, maybe just try and just alter simple angles. If you're not progressing with that movement, that is, in terms of your musculature, like very small things can make a big difference. Like 0.5 mil a trend a day or something like that. Small but big difference. And again, people with good triceps, they'll always look like they're only sort of going to here and then down. So you think naturally, right, okay, I'll do that. And if your triceps don't end up looking like tumours on the back of your arms, like the guys who do this short range of motion, or what looks to you like a short range of motion, they're actually managing to get their tricep lengthened here, probably through an insertion. I'm not sure if the insertions are different, but a tricep is lengthened for that person there. So for me going to there, like my triceps are so high. But if I've got a t-shirt on, my arms look like this. It's to there because all my insertions are high. So I have to be all the way, I have to be here. Like my forearm there is touching, it can't go any further because of my bicep stopping it before I'm in that lengthened position. So you need to be up here. And then from this position again, I've spoken about this before, I'm thinking about pushing then with this and not like this. And that's why I'll come up slow. I'll get the stretch and I'm slow, I'm purposefully slow there. 1, 2, I'm letting the tricep take the load. Fully stretched, slow. 2, 2. And honestly, 3, 3. This will start off nice and easy, but for 20 reps, you'll get it. So Joe was just saying when he does this, he's going to have to lower the weight to what he's doing. But the thing is, it's so easy in a tricep to use everything else, unless you're very strong through triceps. If you're not strong through triceps, it's the last thing that your body's going to want to use. You're going to be able to go over the top of it. You're going to be able to lock in like this, use your shoulders, you're going to be able to use your wrists. And before I'm even here, I could lift fucking a lot of weight on that, but it's not going to be my tricep. And I figured that out. I was, I used to always get good connection with my tricep. I was strong on my tricep, and it just never fucking grew. So I'm thinking, I'm doing this and I'm doing this, but I'm not visually seeing progression. My logbook's saying I'm getting stronger, everything else is feeling good, but it's not growing. I know I'm breaking it down and I know I'm feeding it adequately with nutrition. So it's a case of, right, so why isn't it growing? And for me, it was like, right, just stripping it back, keeping tension on it for longer, making sure I'm using it out of the stretch, making sure I'm using it in the squeeze, like I've done with all of my training. And at some point, I will be able to put 5, 6, 7, 8 plates on that and just do that. I will be able to. And that might be next year, it might be the year after. But by the time I'm doing that, I'm using my muscle to do it and nothing else. And that's where you get big. The guys who you see who are lifting ridiculous amounts of weight are using that muscle are fucking huge. And it does take a long time to be able to do that. Sometimes that means going backwards a lot to be able to go forwards. I know I bang on this about the same message all the time, but I see it so often. And I just think people are in a rush to get somewhere, but in bodybuilding there's no rushing. You have to be so patient. And it's like delayed gratification. So if you haven't changed visually in the last 4 or 5 months, if your arms are still the same size, if your chest is still the same size, and you've been doing the one thing, it's not working. You need to think, why is it not working? What other approach can I take? Do I need more volume? Do I need more frequency? 90% of the time it's better execution. Do I need more intensity? What do I need? Think of something, try it. Do you get a visual response? If not, that doesn't work. And keep going up until you find something that's giving you that visual response, and milk it up until it stops giving you a visual response, and then change again. Constantly changing stimulus so your body can adapt over a period of time is a smart way of training, and really the only way we should be training. Oh. Oh, that was awful in a good way. Fucking hell. So everything then was just like burning like fuck. But that's good. As soon as you find that place, instinctively you just want to get it off. The longer you can stay in that zone, like the zone, what we call them like effective reps. So, for example, the first 10 reps of an exercise may not do anything, but you may have 5 reps in that exercise that are the effective reps that are going to be stimulating hypertrophy. So first 10 reps, although not doing anything, they're getting you to that point. So as soon as you're inside that effective rep range, that's when the set starts, and that's when it starts to hurt. And if you get out of that before you've got everything out of it, you're doing yourself out of the work that you've previously done, and the chance that you have in that session to be able to progress in terms of musculature. So, especially in this style of training, when it's slightly lower volume, your effective reps are a little bit close together from the beginning of your set. You don't have to go so far into the set before you get them. But these hurt a lot more. I think that's why people shy away from high volume, really. I mean, I could have been in a set there for 25 seconds and just, or maybe 15 seconds. Or I can be in a set for a minute. I know which is easiest, and it's not the fucking minute set. Yep, it's better. It's gonna have to be a little bit lighter though for my little weedy triceps. It's the OG. Joe's smiling because he knows what's coming. So I'm gonna do 50-50, which is ridiculous. 40-40, 30-30, 20-20. So 4 sets. The only difference that I don't do with this is when me and Neil used to do it, we didn't used to rest. We used to go 50-50, 40-40 with no rest. I rest in between because I get to the point where I've just got nothing like Ian Beale. there's nothing there. So my tricep still has something in it, but just because I'm coming back to it so fast, I'm just not having enough time to rest for give me an optimal mini set, if you like. I don't know if you can call a 40 rep set a mini set, but because the hypertrophy range is between 5 and 30 reps. So why do 50 reps? But just like any study, it doesn't really equate to real life in bodybuilding. If that was the truth, we would literally just hold weights like that, time and attention. We wouldn't rep it. We'd do that, then we go to length end, leave it in the length end, put it up to there, and we just hold it. That's all you need to do. If studies were applicable to what we do, which studies are great, but take them with a pinch of salt. So, yeah, the team evolution thing. There is Tom Ames, who's evolution coaching in the UK. Great coach as well. Team Evolution is my coaching brand in China. So I work with a guy out there called John, and me and John together, we've got a team of Chinese, Taiwanese athletes, pros, very high level amateurs who are going to go for the pro card this year. So he like translates all the coaching I do and goes out there and helps train the athletes as well. So we've got that together, and that's Team Evolution coaching on top of my own like Team Tonk coaching. And we've also launched, well, we're not launched yet, well, by the time this video is out, we will have done On-Demand Printing, which is a printing company, which is basically as well, like if you're an online coach or you're somebody who needs merchandise, you're branding yourself, an influencer, or you've got workwear or anything like that, basically the website is going to be, you go onto ondemandprinting.com, or you get in touch with us. Say for example, Joe is a coach, Joe Coaching, he'll come to us, we'll take his logo, we'll see what clothes he wants, what apparel he wants, so Team Joe Coaching, we'll go through it with him, and then he'll go onto the website, he'll have a Team Joe Coaching space, so all his clients can then just go onto the website, see what clothing they want, they can click it, it goes straight to our factory, we print it, we send it out. So you as a coach, when you get your own apparel, you usually have to say to your clients, like, who wants what size do you want, how many of it do you want, and then you've got a bag, you've got to go to the post office yourself, say, oh, this is too small, mate, and they send it back. It's a pain in the ass. Or you can just say, go to the website, you can have anything you want, you can have, whatever clothes you want, whatever design you want, they buy it from there, and at the end of the month, you'll just get a nice paycheck of whatever people's bought, and then all the hassle is out of that. And obviously just usual printing stuff as well. So that's where we're going with that. Staff got trained up on the machines yesterday, so they're all ready to go. And hopefully that should be a decent little venture as well. An extra 5 more. So I have done different arm training throughout the off season. Just so happens that you've come back at the arm session, which was probably similar to what you've seen. I did try going heavier single, so I'm going to a heavy bicep for 3 sets and then a heavier tricep for 3 sets. And although it felt good, I just didn't see the response what I see from doing like a shit ton of reps. And again, delve into whatever science you want with that, but anecdotally I see it. So it's not like I've just been, oh, that works, I'll stay with that. I've tried to progress it in terms of lowering reps and volume and go heavier, but I just didn't see, my arms got smaller if anything, I think. So going back to the same volume as what I've done, plus frequency through the week, triceps onto the end of the push and biceps onto the end of back, seems to be where my sweet spot is. And while I'm maintaining decent arms, I think I'm going to carry on doing this. Just next time, as we progress, I'll start to do different variations. But right now, I'm only feeling certain ones. So that's why I stick with this. $280 reps. Exercise 2 done. Exercise 3. So what you might notice with that as well, when I'm doing the upright and I'm coming at the top, I'm controlling that coming up, and then I'm controlling it out. Whereas this, I've got more of a bounce, because when I'm in this position here, if I try and force it back, that's as far back as I can get it. But if I just let it pull me a bit, I can almost get that extra stretch. So I'm here, I'm controlled. I'll let it bounce here, but I'm not using that to bounce out. I'm just bouncing into the stretch, and then I'm dragging out. So I don't know what it looked like from outside, but if it looked like I was sort of like bouncing and pushing, I'm not just bouncing into the length and then driving out. My triceps are so high, it's like a little arms, maybe not there, but it's because like even that's got some pump on it now, but if it doesn't, like all that done, like same with my legs, if I wear normal shorts, it looks like I've got little legs because my knees are so small. And then I just got, same with arms, like the sleeves got to be like a fucking tank top before you can see before you can see I've got any arms, which doesn't matter because I'm practically naked on stage, and for me that's all that matters. I have this conversation with Joe before. I'm what you call a stage bodybuilder. So you have like expo bodybuilders, Instagram bodybuilders. They look great on Instagram, but when they go to a stage, they're not quite there. I think I'm much better on a stage, even though I've not quite nailed the look. I think I'm a much better stage bodybuilder than I am just, if you saw me walking around in the gym with a t-shirt on, you'd probably just think, oh, it's like he trains. Compared to if I rip the kit off, or maybe not actually, I don't know. Maybe not right now, who knows. So I always finish, a little addition to what I've normally done, is I finish with, I don't actually know what you'd call it, Leroy Davis does it, get nasty Leroy. So finish the skull crusher, and then I let it come down and stretch my tricep, and then I don't just push it back, I almost lift it up and push it back, then lift it up and push it back again, and then push. So it's like, still nailing my tricep, just like a different angle. Feels really good. But yeah, I think I'm 13 and a half weeks out. What day is it today? Wednesday. So 13 and a half weeks out. That's Toronto, but there also is the Mid-USA's in Albuquerque, what I did last year, which I really, really like that show a lot. I am my own worst enemy when it comes to stressing about shows and placings and how I look, and like, no matter how much I stress about that now, nothing can change. And actually, another classic pro, Jay Yount, I think that's how you say his surname, I'm sorry mate if I butchered it. He actually said he was doing the same like last year on his pro debut. He was just worrying about, can he win the show, can he come top call, like first call out, and just stressing about it so much, whereas now, he just approaches every day. And I've really been trying to do that. I've really been, I don't care if I'm 5, 6, 3, 2, 1 weeks out. I just want to focus on my task for today and complete today, which I've always done, but I almost do that effortlessly, and then I have too much to think about outside of it. So really just focusing on everything per day and being the best I can be per day is ultimately going to lead to my best. And then that, I can't do any more than that then. I've done everything I can. What will be, and then from that you take away and go off and change things. But that little, that reel he did there, or I don't know if I heard on his YouTube or something, that really helped me that. So, day by day. Arms done and dusted, calves there as well. Yeah, 13 and a half-ish weeks out, in and around that. Feeling good. A stressful day today for the first time in a long time, but we got the decorators in the house, which is not an issue at all. But I'm just so locked into every day that my routine was, I couldn't do a few check-ins this morning. I had to go for a walk this morning because it was loud in there. So I did more activity this morning before I trained than I would like, and that really I'm trying my best to sort of like just chill out with stuff like that, but I'm very routine driven, very robotic, and anything that changes that's out of my power. Even though nothing different today came of it, I still had my meals on the same time, I still did my cardio at the same time, but it's just something about not doing my daily, like, if you like, rituals before, sorry, just spat everywhere, before I come into train, that just stresses me out a touch. So I do need to get better at that, because ultimately, as soon as you go to compete, you're away for a week or two, and your routine is completely different anyway. So that's where the stress becomes really heightened, because I'm not used to deviating from eating with that spoon on that table, out of that cup, at that time. So I need to get better at that. But I suppose that's just the bodybuilder in me. Right, session done. Get back, get some food in, and talk about some drugs. Okay, guys. So if you've fast forwarded the arm day and just got to this bit, shame on you. Shame on you. But I'm just going to go over what my current cycle is. Obviously, like I said, working with Nathan, things are, in terms of milligrammage, a little bit less actually than I thought. At the minute, obviously, when I first get my cycle, I just know what it is in mil on the syringe and just keep doing that up until Nathan says there needs to be any changes. So just looking at everything, it's a little bit less than I thought. I thought we were in and around the 2 gram mark, but it's just a little bit less than that. So first and foremost, we have testosterone and anthe, which is basically in pretty much everyone's stack, unless you're running, compound only cycle. And we're doing 875 milligram of that a week, so 125 mg a day, which again, for some people may seem really high. But again, for me, who's been previously exposed to quite high amounts of anabolics over a period of time, taking less, which I have tried taking lower amounts of test, which when I had a run with Callum Muscle Mentors was what I tried as well. And it doesn't seem to not have any effect on me, but it just doesn't do the same thing. Again, because I think it's because I've been exposed to high anabolics basically from back in the day, before social media was a thing or anything like that. And the local gym guy said, take 2 mil of this and 2 mil of that 3 times a week. And it's really just, carried on from that point. Second compound being Primobolan. We're running Primobolan at 50 milligram a day. So that's 350 mg a week of Primo. Again, pretty low for Primo. For me, I would have run that as high as a gram previously, but you call it a mild compound or not. Again, like I said, the model being, adding a DHT derivative in there, modulating estrogen, keeping a little bit of fullness as well through Primo rather than Mastron. And then obviously, the third compound is Masti. We're running 650 milligram of that a week, which is 1875 total in anabolics a week there, which is, again, in and around, if you look at 10 to 15 milligram per kilogram, my body weight, it's pretty much bang on what it is, if you want to call it the safer use protocol. And so far, I mean, generally less than what I was using with Milos. And when I say less than using with Milos, the milligrammage there was slightly over 2 gram, and using the compound rather than where we'd use Masti there, for example, or Primobolan, it may have been an MPP and DHB or an EQ and a Parabolan or something like that. So really, in terms of toxicity from the drugs, a lot less, and that's really the aim from this cycle, is keeping toxicity, inflammation low. Because we're in prep, you don't actually need as much drugs as you do in an off season, because we're just retaining muscle. If anything, we're not trying to build muscle. So that's where we are with the compounds. Alongside that, I'm running Proviron at 25 mg a day, so that just goes in first thing in the morning. GH was at 5 IU, so we put GH up to 5 IU from 4 IU about maybe 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. Again, like I said, just that wateriness I've got in my calves compared to how I feel like they should be looking when they feel quite fibrous. So I know they should be looking a lot drier My skin feels a little bit rubbery, which is generally a sign for me when growth hormone's a little bit too high. So we've just reduced that today from 5 to 4. It should see a drop because I am super sensitive to it. Some people generally wouldn't see anything from that, but me particularly I will. Clen is already at 80 microgram. So for me, Clen is not something I generally put until 4, maybe 5, 6 weeks out at most. Nath started it off pretty much from the get-go, which again is just something he does with his clients. So 80 microgram there. What I am taking alongside that Clen is I'm taking 400 milligrams of potassium a day as well. So 200 milligram in the morning, 200 milligram PM. Clen can deplete your potassium. And because after a show I go hyperkalemic, or in and around a show I go hyperkalemic, which is low potassium, finding it hard to contract muscles to the point where sometimes I can barely move, or sometimes I can't move if I've been super depleted. So taking that in the prep is going to make sure that doesn't happen. And this is the first time I've done it. Generally by the time I remember to do it in prep, it's like I don't want to change anything in the prep, and I just leave it out. I do apologise about the dog. Is he?
Yeah, he had a rod on.
He had a what? Is he? Because this is off camera. Can you hear him, or is it? Is it all right? So yeah, so Clen's at 80 microgram. So I do 500 milligram of injectable L-carnitine pre-cardio in the morning as well, helping the mobilisation of fatty acids. Rather taking that than muscle, or whatever you want to do. I mean, to me, the literature on L-carnitine looks pretty impressive, but I've never really used it in a client and seen dramatic changes. But again, if it's going to give me a helping hand, it's going to give me a helping hand, so we're doing that. And then pre-workout, we're doing the turbocharged, which I spoke about in one of my last videos. Just doing a mill of that intramuscular, depending on what I'm training. So if it was going in the arms today, it goes in the arms. Chest, it goes in the chest. Delts in the delts, etc. We have just pulled out today 10 IU of Lantus first thing in the morning, and 5 IU of Nova Rapid pre and post. The reason being is, once your carbohydrates are so low, utilising insulin, it's just going to pull me down a little bit further. Great if I'm using a bolus of carbohydrates, we can help partition that nutrients, but now it's not really needed. Nath wasn't hesitant to bring it out, but he just didn't want me to go from me using insulin a lot to none at all. And we've just basically down from 10 down to 5 of Nova Rapid, and from 20 down to 10 of Lantus, and now it's completely gone from today. And then going into thyroid, so T3 and T4. T3's in at 25 micrograms, so a replacement dose there, and T4's in at 150, which is slightly over replacement dose, but not something I've ever done really, is with my T4 at 150. Generally my T3's at 37.5 and my T4's at 100. So it'd be interesting to see if that has any difference in terms of getting in condition, but that's where we are with that. And then really alongside that, an ARB of telomycin. So telomycin is a blood pressure medication essentially. It's just something again to manage blood pressure. Telomycin is already very good also for blocking angiotensin 2, which is linked to pretty much nearly every ailment that you can get from using anabolics. So very, very good compound to have in there. And that is everything. So Testi, Primo and Masti for the main compounds. I'm running Proviron in the morning, GH 4 IU, so now I'll do that AM on wake, and then just before I go to bed. Clen on wake, 80 milligram in the morning. Injectable L-carnitine before I do cardio, 500 milligram. Mil or 500 milligram of turbocharged pre-workout. Lantus and Nova Rapid have gone. T3 25, T4 50, and telomycin 40 mg, which I have in the morning also. And that is where I'm at. That is me. That's a decent cycle for anybody, let alone a pro bodybuilder. But for me, again, that, like I said, that is slightly on my lighter side for me. I'm always well open about my anabolic use. I always have been. Got me into trouble many times, but it is what it is. That should see me get into condition and shape pretty nicely without any inflammation. When I look at my pictures now at 14 weeks out to my pictures with Milos 14 weeks out, quite a lot more inflammation on my physique at 14 weeks out now compared to where I am. And when I look at myself at the same weight now, to the same weight last year, again, there's just still, I'm a little, hey, Reggie, shut up. Reggie agrees that I was a little bit inflamed there. So having lack of inflammation should help condition and obviously just control the fullness with food. So that's where we are at, guys. You nosy bastards. Hopefully that's helpful. Any questions on this, please do ask. Although Nathan's, like I said, I am not a medical doctor. I don't advocate anybody take anabolics, and if you are going to do it, make sure that you seek the proper help. But yeah, any questions, ask away, guys. And that's it from me. See you next time.